third webinar of the week. Oh boy, this is the Dental Assistant Recognition Week. So we were very excited. We wanted to put something together for dental assistants. And so people that are jumping in, please jump in. I see a lot of familiar faces from yesterday. Of course, I see Karina. That's exciting. I see more people joining us. So we'll give people a few minutes to join. So this is going to be a fantastic webinar by Cassie. I can't wait for you to start presenting because this is going to be great. We actually have a lot of ortho assistants on this call, on this webinar. So that's going to be exciting. I don't know if your presentation is kind of neutral, for all assistants or ortho, but I think it's going to be for everybody. So I think people will have a lot of takeaways from this. But just briefly, before we even go into this whole thing, how do you feel about Dental Assistant Recognition Week?
Tiger, it's one of my most favorite weeks because assistants, as you know, have a special place in my heart. I started as one, and I think it's important that we get recognized. And I love that this is the final day and we get to do this, and I get to do it with you because you share the same passion. And they're incredible, and no matter the industry that they're in. So I'm really excited to do this and share all these fun things.
It's going to be fun. Okay, so let's get started.
Okay.
People will join and then they will jump in. So a few things before we go in. So for everybody that's joining, we have a raffle at the end of this webinar. We're going to pick 3 winners, and then we will send $300 gift cards. So first of all, I wanted to ask only dental assistants to participate. So if you're dental assistant, obviously we wouldn't know. So if you put your name and stuff, then we'll send you the gift card. It's up to you. But we would ask that it's only for dental assistants. Second, please make sure to put the name of the office, the address. I think we have all that. But we need to be able to reach out to you and confirm the address. So if that's the case. If you're not a Zen office, we highly encourage. It's not a limitation to participate in a raffle, but we obviously would love for the Zen office to win. So obviously, if you do a demo, it would mean a world for us if you win. So these are just a quick housekeeping things. So this is a 1-hour webinar, and I think what's really unique about our webinars is we try to find the speakers that sound, look, and present exactly the same way in real life and on a webinar. We want to be as lively as possible without anything that, on stage you're one person and in private life is different. I've known Cassie for a long time. I think she'll deliver. I think she is incredible. And I think she's exactly what you get. If I call Cassie and do one-on-one call, she sounds exactly the same as she would look on this webinar. So with that being said, let's start. So Cassie,
yes.
You've been around this industry since 2004. You're a total tooth nerd. You help DAs all over the country. You've been to more than 100 dental practices. And over the last few years, you started your own consulting firm called Everbloom. And so you do post a lot on social media and things like that. And you have a special gift for those that stick around till the end. You have a special gift at the end, which is going to be incredible. So let's start.
Okay. All right. I love that. By the way, I just have to share this with you because it was so fun. I was I need an intro slide. And sometimes I show my family and then I'm wait, let me throw this in AI and see what it comes up with. And I could not stop laughing. This is what it said. I'm an elder millennial who started as a dental assistant in 2004 and never stopped thinking about how to make teams run better. This is what my AI told me, which I loved. I didn't change this. I founded Everbloom in 2024. I host a podcast called The Bloom Effect, and I've spent 2 decades obsessed with culture, systems, building teams that actually love where they work. That's very important. And then there was a piece in here that I moved to the bottom because I don't know how my AI knows this, but I'm fueled by coffee, Bravo, the network, and the occasional unsolicited photo of my children. So,
oh wow, I didn't know about Bravo. Okay,
this is who I am. I love a good reality TV, but I digress there. Okay, so this is me in a nutshell. I've been around a really long time. I was a clinical systems consultant with a large consulting firm for 10 years before starting Everbloom. So I speak, yes, Delaney said Real Housewives in the chat. Yes, Delaney, yes. I love this stuff. I love teams and culture and assisting and making things better and streamlining systems and all the fun stuff. So when Tiger asked me, I was like, absolutely, let's do it. Everbloom was born based on this that I saw somewhere. And I feel like it was Pinterest, but I wish I could remember. But I had an aha moment when I was like, oh, okay, this is why I named my company Everbloom. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. And this is, we're going to talk about culture and creating calm, right? In the hysteria of the world in general, there's so much going on in the world. Why are we going to work and also feeling very out of control and chaotic and not calm? So we're going to talk about how to do that, right? First, it's got to start with vibes, all the vibes, right? We put out the vibe that we want to attract. This is like the most important thing. When I have docs come to me and they're like, this is happening, or I have someone doing this, and I'm like, okay, but what's like the all-encompassing vibe? Like, let's pay attention to what's happening inside the entire practice. This, my friends, right here, I probably talk about this too much. For those of you that are on that listen to my podcast or work with me, the only way you are going to create calm in a practice is by starting from day one. Like going back to your vibe and then doing this, right? We interview, we hire, we onboard, we train, we grow. Like this is the beginning of how it all begins. And if you miss one of these parts over the past 20 years, I have had many aha moments where I'm like, if you miss one of these parts, the chaos starts creeping in and you lose your culture and your calm. So this is really interesting, right? And I'm going to talk a lot about how, like, psychologically, and by the way, as an elder millennial, I fall into this very much. You should see my ADD come out when I'm like writing an email and then building this. Like, I can't help it. We are all the same, right? The average human attention span is now less than a goldfish, right? And we live, and I'm going to talk about this, we live in like a scroll world, okay? Like we want it faster, quicker. I mean, God forbid my computer like take too long. I'm hitting things way too many times to, make it work, right? So we're going to start with the onboarding part, right? Let's say we've interviewed, we've hired. I want to really dive into why it is so important to onboard teams and how you create the calm from day one, right? You are building a culture. Sometimes I get calls or I'll jump on with teams and they're like, my culture is really bad, like really bad. And everyone knows it. And it feels very chaotic. And they want some sort of like motivational something from me. Like if I had a magic wand, you guys, I'd use it on everyone's team culture. But the reality is that I tell teams all the time, like you really have to go back to the basics. There are many reasons why culture starts to really fail. And this is one of the reasons, right? So typically when you have new hires, everyone's like, yeah, we onboard, we train. And I'm like, but are we really onboarding and training the way that we should to create the calm, right? This is what we're talking about. Okay, I have a story. Ready? This is Jillian. This is her story. Okay. Jillian started in general dentistry. Okay. She was in for 3 years. She then decided, I want to go into ortho. This is very common. People want to go into different specialties and try things out. I love it. I think it's a wonderful, beautiful thing. So she starts in an orthodontic practice and she was hired as a chairside assistant. That's where she wanted to be, right? And what they noticed about her was she was really good at communicating chairside. So within 2 weeks, they were like, hey, we need someone to fill in for our scheduling coordinator. Okay. So she then is the scheduling coordinator, but she made it very clear, I don't want to sit up at the front and answer phones. I really like it in the back. I like this. Okay. So 3 days later, they move her back to the clinic, but now she's back up scheduling coordinator, right? Maybe an admin day, or she's helping people out if someone's sick. 4 weeks later, they ask her to be a backup treatment coordinator, right? Because she's so good at connecting chairside that she's like, oh, well, you can also be our TC, okay? So she's the treatment coordinator. And then they realize that she's really into pop culture. She's in her young 20s. She knows all the fun trends. She's on TikTok. She does all the things. And then a couple weeks later, they ask her to be in charge of marketing and social media because it's just innate in her, right? So in 90 days, she has been a chairside assistant, a sterilization tech, a scheduling coordinator, a backup TC, and she's in charge of grassroots marketing and social media. Within 90 days, she was in 5 different positions. Five positions. And let's go back all the way to the beginning. She was not properly trained in any of these, right? They just noticed these really wonderful innate things that she had in her character and said, oh my gosh, you'd fit in so many of these areas in our practice. We want to grow you, but we haven't actually grown her, right? So this is why I am so passionate about this. By the way, this is my niece. This is real. This is like, she went through this. And as she's going through this, I'm like, oh my God. She'd call me and I'd be like, okay, I'd like walk her through all the things. This is incredibly overwhelming for anyone in any situation with any company, right? So I'm here to tell you, I firmly believe this, that the sink or swim approach that I just explained is drowning your team. And sink or swim used to work. I learned by sink or swim 22 years ago. It worked for me. And I was built different, right? And today, this is what's really real. It depends on where you are in the country. I recognize this. However, I can be styling hair today, decide I want to pivot my entire career and go and work in a dental practice within 2 weeks. And I have no idea how to speak your language, right? And so are we setting people up for success? Are we building the culture? Are we creating the calm? Because this is very real in many practices. And so I'm here to tell you that your training should not feel like you are herding cats, even though it does. I fully recognize this, but we're going to talk about how to really manage this. Okay. So I'm going to talk about 2 pieces to really help your culture and to create calm. Okay. So you're going to think of it like this. Your training, it makes your new hires experts. Okay. Your onboarding gets them aligned with your practice. These are 2 very different things. So when people say training and onboarding, you have to put these 2 things into 2 buckets. And I'm going to explain what these buckets are. Today's learners are very overwhelmed. They're very distracted and they are very impatient. And this is true on so many fronts. I had a doctor come to me and he's like, I don't have any written SOPs. An SOP is a standard operating procedure. So any process or procedure you create for your practice. And he's like, I don't have any. So what happened was my chairside assistants went on YouTube and learned how to do things on their own. And I said, wow, like they were quick, right? They were ready. However, when they go on YouTube and we don't have SOPs that are designed and custom for our practice, they're learning a very different way than how we teach, or the products that we use, or the technique that we use, or the bonding agents that we use. And so if we don't create, they are impatient and they will find it. So this is why I think it's so important that we start with SOPs for your practice. So let's talk about the training, and this is the why and the how. Okay. So the why and the how is your tasks, your tools, your systems, your skills. And you notice this just keeps going. It's going to continue to go forever for the rest of your career, right? This is so that we don't have team members like Jillian that I showed you who don't feel confident in their work because they've been kind of thrown into different positions, right? Here's the reality. Only 1% of the work week, typically, I'm going to use quotes here, is spent on training our teams, right? And so if I'm styling hair last week and I'm now working in a dental practice in any specialty, I need more, right? That's only 24 minutes per work week, right? So your learning has to be short and bite-sized and accessible. What does that mean? That means that I'm really sorry. I hope that people are not offended by this, but it's not going to cut it. This does not work anymore. The paper manual, by the way, if you have a paper manual, you are one step ahead. Let me tell you that, because you can take that paper manual and digitize it. So this is not a bad thing. However, if you are handing over new team members big, massive binders, it's not going to happen. They're not going to go through it. And I wish that I could say that were different, but I will tell you, as a 41-year-old female, there is no way you're going to catch me going through a paper manual to learn something. I want short, bite-sized, and digital. And we all want that. People are like, I'm not digital. I don't, people categorize like Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, boomers. And I'm like, really? Can we put boomers in this category anymore? Because I have to be honest, my boomer mother is on Facebook and knows how to manage and do all the things. So I really do not think that we can put boomers in this category. They also want digital. Everyone, every generation out there in 2026 wants digital at this point, right? They don't want more content. They don't need a ton of paragraphs. They need smarter, bite-sized content. And honestly, it's just the way that our brains are wired. Like, it's just how we are now, right? We want quick, we want gamified, we want bullets. And the reality is that I talk about this probably too much, but microlearning, we want little bits of information to be able to process what I should be doing in this practice. And it doesn't matter how old you are. So, what is microlearning? Microlearning is really small, digestible bites. That's really all it is. Like, break this down into digital format and put it into bullets. You want video, you want screen share records, you want recordings of what's happening, you want photos. That is microlearning. Like, break it up into smaller bites. And the reason is because this is what is happening on our phones and on our socials. We are in a scrolling world, right? I am, as I said, an elder millennial who lives on Instagram, not TikTok. I recently opened a TikTok for my Everbloom business. I'm heavy on Instagram, and I was like, ooh, maybe I should open a TikTok for a different exposure. Tiger, I was so overwhelmed with TikTok. I was like, how? It goes so fast. I'm not a TikToker, but there's so many people out there that are. It's fast. It moves quickly. And this is how people's brains are wired. This is it, right?
I'm terrified of TikTok, just for the record. I still don't have it.
I know it's a lot to process. However, this is really important that we are really, really focused on dialing this all in for an SOP. So this is how you create calm. This is how you create a good culture, by setting the foundation for your team. So if anybody new comes in, or you have a new process that comes in, we can really map this out so that everyone is on the same page. Because I'm telling you right now, the minute your team gets off of the page, or they start playing the game of telephone, the next thing you know, something is happening in your culture, and it's kind of behind the scenes. Before you realize it, you guys have gone left really, really quickly. So written SOPs, bullets are really important, video SOPs, and videos have to stay, typically I say 2 minutes, but if it's a longer, between 2 and 5 minutes, right? And flowcharts. Flowcharts are everything. They're quick. They move into a process that you need for your practice. This is not my product, by the way. I use an online platform called Trainual. If none of you know about Trainual, you should look into this. It is an onboarding tool. It is not dental or ortho or any other specialty focused. It is just an onboarding tool for companies, for small businesses, to be able to take all of their SOPs and put them in one designated area. And what it does is create bite-sized material. So I'm just going to show you your possibilities. And by the way, you don't have to use Trainual, but you do have to use some sort of digital onboarding tool, right? And so here's the difference. And this is even for me. I'm telling you right now, there's no way. You've lost me around here, right? I would much rather, and I can process information much easier when it looks like this. Same thing here. Again, dental assistants, shout out for all of you that are on this. I love you. You're my people. You can go into different specialties. And, if you've gone to a dental assisting program, or you haven't and you've learned on the job, specialties are very different. They speak very different languages. I've been in orthodontics now for over 20 years, and I don't speak the general dentistry language when it comes to tooth numbers, right? Like, it's very different. So if you are hiring from different specialties, this is still incredibly important to create a culture of calm, right? People want interactive and self-driven. This is really important, that when you create calm and a good culture, that people are able to actually process the information amongst your entire team. Break it down, small bite size, and like all the way back to the basics. When you guys are creating SOPs and you are creating this to set the foundation in your practices, you have to set this as if you're speaking to someone who has no idea and does not speak your language. Like, start at ground zero, right? What is an attachment? How are they different? How do we bond? How do we repair? And so on. this is really fun. And by the way, you can use AI for so much of this as well, but this is really, really, really fun to do. I say fun, but it might stress people out. But I digress here. You can create assessments, quizzes, things like that, so that you know that your team is actually retaining the information. Within Trainual, there's a massive AI component that does the work for you here. You don't have to come up with all of these quizzes on your own. And then you get celebration. Everyone wants celebration. Everything has an emoji or some sort of celebration that flies across the screen. And so I'm here to tell you, to create culture and calm, you have to set the foundation and you have to go back to the basics. And as basic as this may sound, you have so many people, and this isn't just for dental assistants. I mean, think of your scheduling team who's trying to answer questions on the phone and they don't actually speak that language. This is for everyone, right? To create a culture of calm. Okay. Now we're going to talk about growth. And I have some controversial things in here that I think are really, really fun. This is good. Well, this isn't controversial here, but so this is something I've been working on, Tiger, for the last year, and I've just launched it this year. I think and we talk about this, Tiger, you and I together, and we're both really big advocates for this, but creating a career for dental assistants and people in the dental industry so that they actually want to stay, right? They want to stay and they want to grow with you. However, what I have found in my 20 years of being around this industry is that we're not sitting down and we're not having these conversations enough. We may be having these conversations, and if you are having these conversations, good for you. But are we having conversations about what individual growth looks like for a chairside assistant or anyone on the team, right? What does that look like? And how do you grow into this position? What are the benchmarks that you need to hit in order to grow, right? Because if they don't know, and we're not having these conversations, they automatically assume that they have capped out. And guess what? They are on Indeed, they are on LinkedIn, they are looking for somewhere else that can help them grow. And so I'm here to tell you, you have to create a growth framework to have a good culture and to have a calm environment. And teams deserve this. They want clarity. They want transparency. They want to know, okay, to get from here to here to here, what do I have to do to get there? And so this is just an example of a framework. And by the way, people can screenshot and do all kinds of fun stuff with this. It's also going to be in your presentation on the replay. But it's so important. It's so important. If you do anything, start with the growth, right? Okay, your onboarding is the what and the who. Values, team dynamics, communication, and purpose. Onboarding is what do I do and who are we? Why are we doing this? What is this practice, right? Because here's the thing. Docs, any docs on this? This white coat right here is real. This white coat syndrome that people are nervous or, and you may be like the best, warmest human on the planet, but for some reason, the minute someone sits chairside next to you and they are brand new in your practice, I'm not talking about people who've been in your practice for 20 years. That relationship has already been formed. I'm talking about the new people who come on and they're like, oh, okay, doctor's in here. I have to get it all right. I have to do, even though in your head, you're like, you're new. I understand that, things are going to happen. This is real. And depending on the size of your practice, how often are doctors really sitting down chairside or with any individual and going, my name is Dr. Kellner. I went to college here. This is why I became a dentist, or this is why I became an orthodontist, or right. And explaining, this is why I named the practice this. This is our mission. These are our core values. I got to tell you, I don't think that's happening anywhere, right? but why not build it? Why not build the who and the what? Who we are and what we stand for, right? This is real, right? This is Dr. Ryan McComb. He's in LA. He's incredible. We built this. Who is he? He does not have time to sit down with every single team member. This is a massive practice. So why not build it in? This is who I am. This is my family. This is what I love to do. Who knows? You can connect on so many different levels when you create something like this. I'm not saying by any means take out the personal human touch at all. But I am saying, why not give a foundation here of who we are and what we stand for, right? What is our mission? What is our way that we work? Because I've got to tell you, I think one of the worst phrases that I hear and have heard my entire career is, well, yeah, no, I hear how you're doing this, but in my last practice, we did it this way. Let's build your way and make sure that they have a full understanding of what that looks like, right? This is all wrapped into team culture. And then we have to create actual clarity, like meet the team. Who are these people? What do they do? What do they stand for? Tell me a little bit more about them. What do they do on their team? Because I have no idea, because I was hairstyling 2 weeks ago. So I have to learn from the ground up. Okay, this brings me into the buddy system, which I love. And if you don't have this, I highly recommend it to create a good culture and a culture of calm. Because listen, being new is very difficult in practices. Creating a buddy and mentor partnership within your practice, in my opinion, is key to success for any new hire that you have on your team, right? So your buddy program, it can be your trainer. It's up to you. You get to build this and customize it to whatever you want this to look like, right? The buddy system they are just a friendly guide to be able to help incorporate you into this practice. They are making sure that they're checking in regularly. How are you doing? They are making sure that you know where to eat, where to put your stuff, where to park, right? Whoever has their special parking spot, don't park in her parking spot, right? Like, you know the ins and the outs, because that is what your buddy is telling you. They are supporting your professional growth while integrating you into this practice, because this movie, Mean Girls, it's real. I don't care how old you are, no matter what, even if you've been in this industry for 20 years, I've been doing this for 22. If I walked into a new practice tomorrow, the intimidation factor is real. I would be like, okay, here we go. We're going to have to, it's like walking into a whole new group, right? So this is incredibly important. You introduce them. You have a new hire orientation, you build the foundation, and then you grow and you integrate them into the practice. Team Buddy, you guys can take this for what it is. This is demo. There's no Bloom Dental Group. I made that up. But this is an explanation of what is a Team Buddy? How do we connect culture? How do we create calm? This is it. This is where the controversy is going to come in soon. I don't think it's that controversial. I think I'm being dramatic here, but I think that it's really important that we are doing constant check-ins with our teams. And I'm not talking like full-blown annual performance checking, tracking. I'm talking like wellness checks. How are you doing? How is it going? Are you staying on track? Do you have any issues coming up, maybe chair side, or you can't find something, or, you're keeping the communication open? And I'm going to go digital here again. You can do this anywhere. I mean, Tiger dropped a Google form in here, right? You guys can create this. The tools are out there to be able to send to someone and then get the response, and just doing kind of a well-being check-in with your buddy or your mentor. So I heard about this theory, this mushroom communication. Have you heard of this, Tiger? Okay. So mushroom communication is, because mushrooms grow in the dark, right? And the real theory is that they're fed crap. And so like mushroom communication is they can kind of grow everywhere. They don't get a lot of love. They're often kept in the dark, and then they're tended to, or you see them when it's too late, right? And so it's really interesting. I did a lecture last year at the AAO, and an orthodontist came up to me, and he was in the military, and he's like, actually, we use this often in the military, mushroom communication. It's kind of forbidden in the military because they want to know kind of what's happening when it's happening, right? And so I use this because I've got to tell you, like, secrets don't make friends. And so if we have very clear transparency and we are really creating clarity here, it's so incredibly important. Also, this is not communication. This is not. So like this mushroom communication, this is it right here. Throwing a Post-it, hoping somebody gets to it, or yes, Tiger.
What if the doctor puts something on a sticky note for a front desk person and says, "Hey, I appreciate you a lot," and puts a sticky note? Is that a way to communicate?
Fine, of course.
Okay.
That's showing love. I'm talking like, hey, you need to call this person by 3:15, and it's like 2:00 and I'm not going to be at my desk by then, right? Like that's not it. Showing love and gratitude, and absolutely post it away. Yes. It's funny you say that. So I love this. I love showing love. I love peer-to-peer recognition. I love connection and appreciation. I think it goes a really long way in practices. You can put this in your break room. You can use Post-its if you want to show appreciation, but it's really, really important. And I hope that people never forget to do this, because it really goes a long way, especially after a crazy long Thursday where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we survived that, right? That is when you show that recognition. Creating clarity is probably one of the most important things that I recommend everyone do. Creating role clarity, creating clarity within your practice, SOP clarity, clarity amongst your team so everyone knows what they should be doing and why, and involving your team. What do you do? When do you do it? And why do you do it? Your leadership team does not have to build this. Your team can build it. They're the ones that know, they're in the trenches, right? So creating clarity, again, going back to culture and calm, I think it's so incredibly important, because secrets don't make friends. And when you involve your team and you know exactly what they should be doing at any given moment, you can see this person here has 17 things that they're doing, and this person has 5. And maybe that works for their workload and their role. But if it doesn't, then let's reallocate some of these things so that we have true clarity and involve them in it, right? We set up trays daily. What's the time commitment on that? Explain how to do this. Throw an SOP in on how to do this is so important. I don't think that there's like always, at least in orthodontics, probably in general dentistry and other specialties too, there's this disconnect sometimes between front and back. It's like a battle of front and back. And I think it's really important that, one, we bridge that gap. And also the way that we're going to bridge that gap is by true clarity and communication. And so I talked about flow charts in the very beginning. They're incredibly important to put into your practice. So if your clinical team does not know, or your scheduling team does not know how to schedule an emergency, or they think that this is an emergency, but it can be a simple conversation, have we really mapped out what this will look like for your teams, right? And this, again, back to culture and calm. I'm overdoing it at this point, but it's so incredibly important that you are dialed into what that clarity really, really, really looks like. Okay, here we go. You ready? This is
Let's
it.
go.
Controversy.
Let's go.
I do not believe in performance reviews. Okay.
Interesting.
And I think that performance reviews give everyone anxiety, whether you're giving it or you're receiving it. That does not mean that we don't have conversations, that we don't have annual meetings, but this whole for years, right? And I was one of them. I was one that was rated. This whole like rating your people from poor to excellent, people do a 1, 2, 3, 4 or an A, B, C, D. It doesn't matter. I think, thank you, Annabelle. I think that it's old and I think that it's outdated. And I think that we can do this on so many different levels where we remove the words performance review. Did I lose you, Tiger? Oh, there we go.
No, I'm here.
Okay, sorry. I was frozen on my end. We lose the word performance review and we stop meeting once a year. And we have 365 days in a year. Having a conversation once a year while someone works in your practice, I think does a disservice to them and a disservice to you as if you are the practice owner or the manager. So my recommendation is not to stop the conversation, but to actually grow them, right? To give them growth plans. That's my new word, by the way. I've used it for years. Growth plans as opposed to performance reviews, and have very true, candid conversations about where we are and where we want to be and how you're doing, right? And understanding your people, understanding where your people land, and you want to grow and develop them. So it's not that I'm throwing out the conversation, it's the performance review rating. It's just played out. Nobody wants it anymore. And I have to be honest, I have to tell you, I would say over 50% of my clients over the last 10 years don't even give them because it stresses them out. They don't even know where to begin. And if you meet regularly, as opposed to that once a year, then it's more of a conversation of here's our areas of development. Here's what we agree on. Here are our goals and action items. And this is how we get to move forward. And you're keeping everyone accountable, not just the person giving this performance and development plan and putting it together, but the person who's also receiving it, right? So I still think you should meet. I just think it should be a lot more often to create, again, calm and good culture. I threw this in last minute. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I realize I might have something to drop in the chat. I'm obsessed with this. I think everyone should do it. It's like the easiest thing that you can do. This is called 9 dimensions. I give it to so many practices. You can do this totally anonymous, right? And you get these little stickers from Staples or Target or Walmart or wherever you want to get them. And you give your team members, everybody gets one sheet and they get to put in a dot, just one dot in each one of these squares, and then they hand it in. And it's funny, I do this often. And I did this a few years ago for a team. And everyone here in attitude was a lot of red, right? There was like, oh, there's some attitude happening, right? There was a yellow, but a lot of red. And then there was one green. And so what happens when they turn it all into me, I put it on one big sheet and show it to everyone. And it's this thing, right? And we talk through it and it's anonymous. So no one has to admit how they feel, but you get a very good grasp on where your practice is without having to even have individual conversations. The green was the doctor because no one's giving the doctor attitude. And what he realized was like, okay, something's happening here that they really then had to work on and work through and have bigger conversations. But it's just a really fun exercise that gives you just a really good eye-opening, experience on getting a pulse of your practice. I'm obsessed with check-in forms. I don't think we run very fast, large practices. So to be able to fill in the growth, the development, the check-ins, the training, the onboarding, that's like outside of patient work. That's the big extra stuff that takes a ton of time. Let's get real. But if you don't do it, you will regret this, I promise. And so what I say to you is make it digital. Be able to send this out to your team, not, here's your paper. I need to print all of these. I need to give them to individuals. Like, it's 2026. I create these in Asana, but you can do this on Google. There's so many digital forms out there that people use in their practice already. Why not use these, right? Celebrate the wins, get feedback, check on their well-being, and so on. Okay, so a lot of teams, when I talk like this, say, I want to do everything. Like, we really want to do this, but we just don't have the time. And that's true. It's true. I think time is the biggest thing that people struggle with here, is that they don't have time to implement, or they don't have manpower to do this. And my answer is, if you didn't have time, you'd still be practicing like this. Like, you have to build in the time. I always say this, there's a difference between working in your practice and working on your practice. The in is the patient care, the on is the team. And if you don't genuinely make time to do this, that is when you see very low retention and crazy turnover. So you have to build in the time. It's only March 6th. You've got a whole year ahead of you. So all of you listening, you have to look at your calendars and look at your schedule and build in the time, right? And this is another really big reason why you have to build these things, because I have 2 of these little Gen Alphas at home, and they live a totally different life than I do, right? Right now, Gen Alpha is 0 to 16. 16. They're 16 years old. Do you know how quickly they're going to be in your workforce? Let's say you hire an 18-year-old in 2 years. This is how they grow up. This is their life. I mean, I found this photo when I was putting it in. This is how my son, I have a 6-year-old son and a 5-year-old daughter. This is how my son builds Legos. It's through a Lego app. There's still paper on some, but it's through a Lego app, and he gets to see the dimension, and then he follows along and clicks the button and it moves forward. He's 6. Like, there's no way you would have caught me at 6. This didn't even exist. I had like a computer lab when I was in high school. It's a very different world. So what I'm telling you is, you don't have a choice, because Gen Alpha is coming into your practice. And if you want to continue creating a culture of calm and a really, really wonderful culture, then you have to think outside of what you're currently doing. And that is why I really have a hard time with paper binders, because in 2030, the oldest Gen Alpha will be 20 years old. That's only in 4 little tiny years. By 2035, they're going to be in your practice full swing. 2039, they're going to be in leadership roles. So it's going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of when you want to do it and when you want to make this massive shift. And so these are things I hear all the time. I put them in a grid last year. And it's like, this was the biggest thing. A lot of people are like, it's impossible to find good help these days. But here's the shift right here. Are you creating an environment where people want to stay and grow? So I will tell you this, if you want to create a culture of calm from day one, you have to empower your team, you have to go digital, and you have to make training feel modern for the modern learner, because you are setting the tone for what's going on in your practice. Thanks, guys.
Cool. Can you go back? So
where? Which one?
Reminder for everybody. I would like for you to go back to that chart with the yellow, blue, green
Yes.
stickers. Let's go
Okay,
back
right
to
here.
that. So in the meantime, for everybody, please fill out the raffle. And then
Oh, yeah.
Michael, let's start getting ready for the raffle. Let's get the names up and let's go. So let's spend just 2 minutes.
Okay.
How does this thing work? Like each person, like how I'm a little confused.
Yes, I love this. Okay, I'm gonna find a PDF for you guys too. Yes, so the way that this works is the team will need to, you print one for each team member. Okay.
And you put a name at the top, or it
They
says
don't
like,
have to. If you want to put a name, you can. If you want it to be anonymous, then you can, right? So they then take this and you have stickers. You have to buy the stickers. And they put one sticker in each box, right? So if they think they're crushing communication, they put green. If they're like, yeah, communication is horrible or it's not even a priority in our practice, then they're going to put blue. So they are rating simply by putting a color in each one of these boxes.
okay, so you just print that form and you just put a sticker on how you particularly feel
Yes.
on how we do in these areas of the practice. And then the colors basically tell where I'm at as far as how I feel about this thing. Okay, cool. And then you turn it in and then somebody, okay, got it. Okay, perfect. So the great news is, as we're giving away 3 gift cards, you also have something that you're going to do. A gift. What is that?
I have a gift.
Share the screen?
Yeah. Can you see it?
No.
Oh.
Something happened.
Oh, they took it away. Oh,
Michael,
you have
don't
it.
take it away.
Oh, uh-oh.
Okay.
Sorry, Michael. Okay.
He's doing raffle, but I would like for people to find your stuff first.
Okay, you see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is 10 years of clinical consulting in one guide. It's your clinical guide to SOPs. There's clinical job descriptions, there's protocols, elastic, care call, hygiene, verbal skills, duties, lunch and learn, team meeting templates. Everything is in here for everyone to use. I've created a code that you can use. It's Zen. You can also scan this. And if they scan this, it is 1,000% free. So put your info in.
There's no like
download.
catch this or that. Okay, cool.
No.
So people, just go download it. This is amazing. Also, just very quick, I dropped in the notes that we use Typeform. You're a big fan of Asana.
I am.
So give people like a little bit of what do you recommend if somebody would say, I want to go modern tomorrow? Where would you recommend them to go? Like give you like top choices.
So Asana for task management and communication collaboration. And if they want to build out a true onboarding program, I would go Trainual. So it's train and then Ual. Yep. Trainual is just a play on training and manual. 100%. And if they go on my website, they can learn so much more about it too. But those 2 tools, again, not my tools. I have a slight obsession with them. I think that they're a true game changer.
What do you use for, like, if somebody needs to do some kind of a survey, reach out to patients and stuff like that? Give us like your tech stack a little bit.
So if they need to reach out to patients.
Yeah, like if they need to run a survey internally in the like among the team members, like do like a survey, like that check-in form. Like what would you use for that check-in form?
Asana.
So you can do that within Asana and then send the link to everybody?
Yeah, you can send a live link outside of your organization and then it collects actually in one big project. So it'll be, let's say you send something out for marketing and you want to get information from practices, right? When they submit, it lands in a marketing project. So it lives in a home, which I love.
And then you do train people on how to use Asana is like a big tool out there, but you do train people on how to use Asana in a demo practice. Okay, so people can go to your website. Okay, fantastic. You're not getting paid by Asana either.
No.
I mean, you wish you would.
I wish.
By now.
No,
all right, so
no.
Raffle, Michael, let's go because we're keeping people. We want to make sure people get the raffle results before they bounce back to the day. And so everybody who's attending, thank you so much.
Thank
we're going to name
you.
3 people. Wow, we've got so many people. Wow, it's amazing. All right, Michael, let's run this thing. And we could have 3 people who are going to win today.
Okay.
We're using this
Fun.
spinning thing, digital, right, Cassie?
I love it.
Patricia, you won $100. So please make sure we have all of your information, and then we will send you the actual. This is where we go old school. We're not going to send you a virtual gift card. It's a physical gift card that goes to your office. So let your front people know that you're about to receive a mail from Zen One. Make sure they don't throw it away or keep it in their own pocket. So that's yours. Let's go
next. Oh my gosh, there's so many people I know on this. I didn't realize. Hi, everyone. Oh.
This is fun. All right, Montana, congratulations. You won $100. Let's go. Same thing. Please make sure your office knows and you're excited to get the gift card. Physical, actual, that you can use at the store. Karina, 3 times in a row. How is that possible? Karina, you must be excited. Wow, this is awesome. She attended all 3 and she won.
Oh my God, Karina got a bonus this week.
Yeah, Karina is crushing. All right, Michael, let's do one more. We'll do one more. We got 3 minutes left. Pick one more person. Let's pick one more. This is so, Karina, how'd you do that? Like, you should play lottery, like seriously 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Hope, congratulations, you won $100 gift card.
Oh, wow.
Let's go, everybody. So all of the dental assistants on the call, we're super, super grateful. You took the time out to learn, to listen, to get better, get educated, all these things. So we're very, very excited. We try to bring incredible speakers. We'll continue doing it. I have a lot of follow-up things I want to do with Cassie. So maybe we'll just do a podcast afterwards where we'll talk about things and we'll put it out live. So, but for everybody attending, thank you so much. For all the dental assistants, you mean the world. So thank you all for being dental assistants. So thanks, everybody. And thanks to all who
Thank you,
participated.
Amber. You guys are the best. Cheers to all the dental assistants. I truly love you. You're doing really amazing things. Thanks, Tiger, for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Cassie. Thanks, everybody. That was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.